Legacy has had great successes fusing different characters together into a single figure that represents both, whether that's Alita 1 and Minerva, or Skyquake with his G1 version. But with these composite characters, what happens if you go too far and completely overshadow one character in favor of another? Welcome back to the show, it's Gay for May. Cyberverse Universe Shadow Striker is a rather fitting character to undergo this treatment, given her backstory. As one of the more prominent recurring antagonists in Cyberverse, she was introduced as a rival to Bumblebee. When a confrontation between the two left her in total disrepair, she was rebuilt by Shockwave, given a mismatched body with disproportionate and off-color limbs, taken from the scraps of other fallen Decepticons. Now that's what I call a blowjob. Anyone familiar with Shadow Striker might look at this vehicle and think, oh wow, they finally gave her an Earth-based alt mode. And broadly, that's what they've done. It's got a similar body style, even down to some of the subtler details of the car, and has many of the same features, like the red wheels and the fact that her pussy is hanging out, but it's also hard to miss the obnoxious red engine block placed smack dab in the middle of the car. While the car is primarily inspired by Shadow Striker's vehicle mode from Cyberverse, its distinct engine block is borrowed from the Dodge Viper alternate mode of her namesake. The original Shadow Striker was a repaint of RID Sideburn, and was released in a quote-unquote BotCon 2-pack with her sister, Roulette, way back in caveman days, 2003. That was the year I saw my first nipple. The car overall looks really cool and slick, especially with its blood red windows and low-profile design, but one thing that really annoys me about it is the roof. The roof is removable and will later serve as an accessory for the robot mode, but I can't get it to tab in place properly or sit flush against the rest of the car. Transforming her into vehicle mode can be a pain too. I didn't understand how to convert the front at first, so I brute forced it and pretty much destroyed these latching tabs on her fenders. In my defense, it's an incredibly tight fit, and her hips tend to buckle outward when you press down on her, just like your mom. The best way to do it seems to be to push the entire thing over her hips all at once, and then to press down on each headlight to click them into place. And when transforming her to robot mode, you simply do all that in reverse. Shadow Striker has a nice transformation that feels both uniquely designed and fun to do. While she is a bit of a shell former, and a parts former for that matter, the process is quite graceful and straightforward. There's a definite flow to it, a distinct sense of direction that underlies the process. After the limbs flip out, the frame of the car accordions back down, converting the length of the vehicle into the height of the robot, as if by magic. Shadow Striker's robot mode noticeably does not look like her. Neither how she looks in toys and packaging art, nor her piecemeal appearance seen throughout the series. This figure is heavily styled after her universe counterpart, lifting most of her aesthetic cues and details, and pretty much leaving only the wheels on the back and the head sculpt to reflect the Cyberverse version. Like I said before, this isn't a new move for Legacy, but this seems a little uncharitable to Shadow Striker since this is her first normal figure. The two Shadow Strikers don't even have much to do with each other aside from the name. Even then, Cyberverse Shadow Striker was originally going to be called Night Racer. I guess Mark Mayer needed to fulfill his yearly quota of fembots and obscure series references, so Shadow Striker became a convenient way to kill two birds with one stone, and presumably bringing us closer to a Legacy Sideburn in this roundabout way. But why didn't they just make him? I didn't want Shadow Striker as designed by Naughty Dog Studios, okay? I live in the United States of America. My president is black, my Lambo is blue. Luckily, old Gay for May has found a solution. Introducing Shadow Striker Big Ones. As long as you don't completely tuck in her chest when transforming her, you can make it look like she has a humongous pair of heavy metal hangers on her chest. Wow, I'm sold. This might be the best Legacy figure yet. Well, she's definitely one of the quirkiest, especially after the geniuses at Hasbro got a little too silly with her articulation. Uh-oh! If you remember Tarn's shoulders, you're gonna want to sit down for this. Shadow Striker's shoulders pivot from her back. The motion takes some getting used to, and although the range is still mostly comparable to normal shoulders, they've completely sacrificed all backwards movement. The only actual benefit this offers is that it facilitates her weird transformation. Said transformation unfortunately has another annoying side effect. Your mileage may vary, but the tabs that hold her spine together are held in place by friction alone. And because her vehicle kibble drapes all the way down her back, I find it's really easy to accidentally press on these door flaps and pop the backpack off while posing her. But what is a cool pose without cool accessories, which is another area of this figure that's been heavily weighted toward the universe version of the character. First of which, she has a blaster, a devilishly designed pistol that's based off of Sideburn's so-called drag knife. With that name in mind, she can also hold the stock of the blaster like a handle and wield it as a melee weapon. And if you have certain blast effect parts, you can convert it into a cool beam saber. The rear bumper of the car can be used like a small shield, or you can attach it to the front of the blaster to recreate the missile launcher included with the original toy. The roof can detach and become a shield on either arm, but it can be a bit annoying to plug in since the peg is on a hinge and will bend with enough pressure. But I would have liked to see at least one accessory that felt intended for Cyberverse Shadow Striker, either her shotgun, gun or her machete. If not that, maybe even the Night Racer gun, as an homage to the character's development in real life. So overall, I feel pretty lukewarm about Legacy Shadow Striker. Now, I would never say no to getting another Decepticon babe, especially one with such major assets. And although the figure does some weird things, it's fairly inoffensive, but I feel like she has a major identity crisis going on. In terms of design and presentation, this figure heavily marginalizes the elements that represent Cyberverse Shadow Striker, overshadowing the first mainline release of the character in order to make reference to an at best tangential connection. It clearly wants to be a new RID Sideburn, and I wish they hadn't relegated such a unique character like Shadow Striker to be a mere pre-tool for somebody else. Special thanks to my friend Zesty for doing the thumbnail to this video, and if you want to see my analysis of a composite character done right, check out my review of Legacy Elita 1. But anyway, that's just my opinions. Please leave yours in the comments below. Bye-bye. Now that's what I call a blowjob. My god. He took it a blowy point. Very few people are going to get that reference.